What's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte, and we are continuing our season prediction series. Today, we're heading in the Eastern Conference in the Metropolitan Division to take a look at the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, obviously, the headlining addition to this team is on the back end. Erik Gudbranson is the key free agent acquisition this summer for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, you guys know I'm all playing. It's Johnny Gaudreau. Johnny Hockey coming over from Calgary, going over to the East Coast. Not necessarily the East Coast we were expecting. He stayed a little bit inland. He goes to the Columbus Blue Jackets in Columbus, Ohio. A huge win for the Blue Jackets, not only for the player, but the perception of the organization and maybe not being viewed as a free agent, detractor, if anything. And this is a huge addition for them. So, obviously, Johnny Gaudreau leads the list. Sorry, Gudbranson, you weren't at the top of the list here. But they did add Erik Gudbranson as well. So, just to add a little sting for the Calgary Flames fans out there, they took two of their guys this summer in Gaudreau and Gudbranson. Also, looking up front, they added, these are guys that they didn't add. But these are guys that are in their prospect pipeline that I expect to see a little more of next season. Liam Foudy as well as Kirill Marchenko. A lot of people are really high on Kirill Marchenko and see him as a very good hockey player. So we'll see what happens there. That could end up being another kind of maybe Artemi Panarin type player, which would be huge for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And you look what's already in that pipeline. I mean, you look down the middle, they've got some really good hockey players, and they have built up a really, really good prospect pool over the last 2 years. I mean, they've drafted in the top 15 4 times in the top 15 the last 2 years. Some of those guys still on their entry-level contracts. Cole Sillinger, Kent Johnson, David Juracek, and I'm trying to remember the other defenseman. I'm pretty sure they took another defenseman there. I want to say Denton Mateychuk, but you guys will let me know who that fourth guy is. But overall, I mean, it's been really a great offseason for the Blue Jackets. And the same thing on the blue line. You added Erik Gudbranson, you added David Juracek with one of your top picks, as well as Denton Mateychuk. I think all of those guys will be in the conversation for making the roster. I think it's a little bit of a long shot to see Mateychuk in there, but David Juracek, I think, will play in the National Hockey League. Maybe toward the end of next season. He might start next season. If he starts in Europe, you already know he will not play probably next year with the Blue Jackets. But if he starts the season in Cleveland or Lake Erie, whatever the Erie Monsters, wherever they are now, he'll probably start the season there, and I expect him to come up to Columbus. If not this year, definitely next season he will be in there. I think Juracek will be, again, a dark horse guy to make the lineup. You look at their team last year, they were pretty good goals for. They were 14th in the NHL, so they were in the upper half of the league in goals for. That wasn't necessarily the problem. The problem was their defense and their goals against. 28th in the National Hockey League. That's 4th worst in the CHL. And that is something that I expect to improve for the Blue Jackets. You do have your questions about the goaltending. It's still the same goalie tandem. They were really great for the last couple years. Not so much last season. Hopefully things will pick up there. But their blue line, you've got Werenski and Gudbranson together. Gavrikov and Boqvist on the second pair, and then Jake Bean and Nick Blankenberg, Andrew Peeke, and Gavin Bayreuther. Yeah, so Juracek probably won't see that much ice time this year in the NHL. So I think the Blue Jackets, as it's a pretty solid blue line, I'm really not that impressed. Once you get to Adam Boqvist and Jake Bean, I just don't know if they're top 4 defenseman material. And I just don't know how that's going to necessarily work out for the Jackets. And then Blankenberg, Peeke, and Bayreuther are all kind of guys we've seen a little bit, but they're still kind of unknowns as to where their potential lies. And all of them are 24 to 28 years old. So we'll see how that kind of goes. With that said, do I have the Columbus Blue Jackets making the playoffs? They're going to be a very interesting team to watch. I don't think they will make the playoffs. Like I said, I think there's just still another development year for the Blue Jackets. I think they're going to be a very improved team. Another year of those guys down the middle, and Kent Johnson and Cole Sillinger. And I think their defense is their weakest asset here. Obviously adding Johnny Gaudreau, it's going to add a different dynamic to your scoring group. Teams can't just kind of pinpoint on Patrick Laine anymore. Johnny Hockey's there too now. So, just by default, Johnny Gaudreau's presence is going to allow Patrick Laine a little more ice and a little more room probably to score some goals. And I think that's a really good thing. It's a good complementary piece to what they've already got there. Like I said, they have a young center core that's kind of coming into their own. They have a lot of guys that still aren't on the roster. Like I mentioned, a guy like Guracek, who is definitely going to be a top 4 D-man in the NHL. We'll see what happens, but I think that's the expectation. So, again, you could see the holes in the defense in particular, and those are guys that are developing right now. And that's kind of how things are for the Jackets. But let me know what you guys think down below. What do you guys think of the Columbus Blue Jackets? Do you think they make the playoffs next season? I do think they miss the postseason, but I think it will be a season that will lead them deeper into the spring than most people will give them credit for. Expect a good one here in Columbus. I think they do just come up short, though. So we'll see what happens. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.